Hello friends, this is for the very first time I am preparing the video related to the human anatomy and physiology, and the topic for the today's discussion is the digestive system. Though this video is prepared for the purpose of pharmacy student, as per the Pharmacy Council of India syllabus of B Pharmacy, the subject of second semester human anatomy and physiology, within that one of the chapter digestive system is there. But though this presentation is prepared for the pharmacy student, but this preparation is also useful for the 11th and the 12th science students. So the students of 11th and 12th science can also refer this video. So let us start our discussion related to the digestive system. Before starting any chapter, we must study the importance of that particular system. And here, as we are going to start the digestive system, we must understand the purpose of digestive system. The name itself indicates the digestive means what? The digestion. So the digestive system is engaged within the digestion. But what is the reason for what the digestion is required? So we take the large number of diets every day through the orally. So whatever the substances are taken orally, these are having the large structure. So unless and otherwise they are broken down into the smaller structures, they are not allowed to enter into our systemic circulation. And if our substances do not enter into the systemic circulation, they will not able to reach towards the each and every cell and tissue and organ of our body. So in order to promote the absorption, the very first thing is required, the very first process is required, that is the digestion. So in order to promote the proper digestion, the one of the system is present in our body known as a digestive system. So I must say the importance of digestive system is what? The digestion. So what is the digestion? So digestion is the process in which many chemicals act on the food, making it available for the absorption. So digestion is not the only thing that digestive system has to be carried out, but once the digestion is over, the next function is what? It must provide the site for the absorption. So what I said, the digestion is the process in which the many chemicals are acted over the food particle in order to make it available for the absorption. So there are various activities in which the digestive system is found to be engaged. The very first activity involved in the digestive system, it is the ingestion. So ingestion, it is simply the taking the food particle into the alimentary canal. Here it can be explained with the help of GIF. So ingestion means what? Taking a food particle into the into the alimentary canal, into the GIT, known as the ingestion. So the very first activity that our digestive system is involved. Second one, propulsion. It can be well understood. Propulsion means what? The movement of food particles along the alimentary canal. This can be well understood with the help of this figure. So it is nothing but what? The bolus, so far introduced through the mouth, it is carried forward towards the stomach. So it is the movement of food particles throughout the alimentary canal is known as a propulsion. The third activities in which the digestive system is involved, it is the digestion. And definitely it is the principal work that digestive system has to carry out. It is the important function that our digestive system has to be carried out. The digestion means breaking down the large complex form of food substances into the fine substances or the fine particles. A large complex form of food particles gets converted into the fine particles, that is nothing but the digestion. This digestion can be occur by the two ways. The first one is a mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion involves the actual hammering of a teeth over the food particles so that the complex form of the food particles can be broken down into the simpler forms. So here by the process of mastication, the very first process of digestion takes place within the mouth, and that kind of digestion is known as a mechanical digestion. I said digestion is of two types. Mechanical digestion means what? Mechanical hammering over the food particles by the teeth, and this process utilizes the mastication. So throughout the process of mastication, the very first digestion takes place, known as a mechanical digestion. And the second digestion is what? The chemical digestion. Digestion, I said, are of two types: mechanical digestion that takes place within the mouth, and the second one is the chemical digestion. So whenever the food particles is introduced into the gastrointestinal tract, into the alimentary tract, it is acted over by the many chemicals, and these chemicals so far synthesized and released into the alimentary canal by the glands that are situated within the mucosal membrane, of alimentary canal, or the certain accessory glands. For example, pancreas, liver, they secrete their secretions into the alimentary canal. For example, here it is shown the gastric juice secreted by the gastric gland. So whenever the food particle enters into the stomach, it is acted over by the chemical so far known as a gastric juice. So gastric juice consists of the large number of digestive enzymes, and now the food particle come in contact with the digestive enzymes released by the gastric juice. Such a kind of digestion is known as a chemical digestion. So chemical digestion means what? The breaking down of the complex form of substances into the fine particles with the help of chemicals released within the gastrointestinal tract. Once the digestion is over, the function of the digestive system is not yet over. The next activities in which the digestive system has to be involved, it is the absorption. So what is this one? Absorption, it can be well understood by using this diagram. What I said to this part, it is the alimentary canal, means food substances are present within this alimentary canal, and this is our blood system, capillary system, or the lacteals are responsible for the absorption of fats. Okay, what will you found here? The absorption is nothing but what? The passage of substances or the transfer of substances from alimentary canal into the systemic circulation. What is this one? So passage or the transfer of substances from transfer of food particle or the substances in the form of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, whatever being found to be present as a part of the food is being present in the alimentary canal. So the transfer of substances from alimentary canal into the blood, into the systemic circulation, into the plasma is known as absorption. So digestive system is again involved in the next part or the next activity known as absorption. So very first activity involved, it is the ingestion, means taking. Ingestion means what? The taking the food particle into the alimentary canal. Propulsion means movement of the food particles across the alimentary canal. Digestion, breaking down of food particles into the fine particles, are of two types: chemical digestion and mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion starts within the mouth, and chemical digestion also starts within the mouth, or it takes place throughout the passage of alimentary canal. And the next one is what we said, the absorption. Absorption means what? The transfer or the passage of substances from alimentary canal. The passage of substances from alimentary canal into the systemic circulation, known as absorption. Is that all activities involved in the digestive system? No. One more activities in which the digestive system is involved, and that is nothing but what? Elimination or the egestion. Once the digestion is over, the many food particles are still there which are undigested. Once the absorption is over, many food particles are still there which are unabsorbed. So the undigested and unabsorbed food particles are eliminated with the help of digestive system in the form of feces. Here it can be said, digestion and the feces, elimination of undigested and unabsorbed particles in the form of feces. So these are all the activities in which our digestive system is involved. And the next one, as far as the introduction to the digestive system is involved, we can divide the digestive system into two parts. The first one, alimentary canal, and the second one, accessory organs. So digestive system, whenever someone asks you what are the elements or what are the components of digestive system, you must enlist the parts of alimentary canal as well as accessory organ. So our alimentary canal starts with mouth. Definitely it starts with the mouth. It is also shown in the diagram. So the digestive system, it starts with the mouth. it continues into pharynx. Here you can say the pharynx. The mouth continues into the pharynx. Pharynx continue into the esophagus. It is shown in the diagram. Esophagus continues into the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum. Here it is rectum and the anal canal. Alimentary canal is a tube-like structure. It is distended towards some organs. It is somewhat distended towards some organ. Somewhere their lengths are going to be variable depending upon the function of that particular organ. But it is a throughout the mouth, right from the mouth towards the anal canal, it is a tube-like structure. What does the accessory organs consist of? So definitely accessory organs consist of pairs of salivary gland. Here they are located towards the region of mouth. So definitely we will study more about the salivary gland in the latter part of the presentation. The next organ considered as a liver and the pancreas. Liver and pancreas both are considered as accessory organs. They are said accessory because of what? They are not essential for the process of digestion. If a liver is removed, if the pancreas is removed, definitely it will not work. It is quite difficult to live without a liver and a pancreas because the large number of variety of function has to be carried out by the liver. But as far as the digestion is considered, the liver or the pancreas hardly affect the digestion. The pancreatic enzyme can be taken exogenously. The bile, whatever being responsible for the absorption of cholesterol, that can take place. The absorption of a fat can be takes place in the absence of liver, or if the pancreatic enzymes are given exogenously, the process of digestion can be completed. So that's why it is said the accessory, but these are the essential ones. Okay. The absence of the any one of these organ of alimentary canal would affect the digestion, but it may not affect the digestion. Definitely the digestion can be improved with the help of administration of certain substances exogenously in case of there are impairment in the function of liver, pancreas or the salivary gland. That's why they are considered as accessory organ. एक बार ये नहीं रहेंगे तो चल जाएगा, लेकिन ये सब organ लगेंगे, बराबर. That's why it is said accessory organs, pairs of salivary gland, liver, pancreas. Let us start the today's part of our discussion, basic structure of alimentary canal. As far as the alimentary canal is considered, it is made up of the 4 layers. As far as the basic structure of alimentary canal is considered, it is made up of the 4 layers. The outer covering, it is somewhat known as adventitia, serosa or peritoneum. Adventitia, serosa or peritoneum. In some part of the GIT, it is known as adventitia, some part it is known as serosa, and in some part it is known as the peritoneum. We will discuss later. Then below the adventitia, serosa or the peritoneum, the next layer is present, muscle layer. Within the muscle layer, there are 2 layers of muscles. The outer muscular layer, it is made up of the longitudinal muscle fiber. So outer layer is made up of longitudinal muscle fiber, and while the inner is made up of the circular muscle fiber. So I must say there are further 2 layers of muscle, the outermost longitudinal muscle and the inner circular, sorry here is a spelling mistake, circular muscles forms the inner layer. Third layer is a submucosa. I said 4 layers of alimentary canal, outer covering adventitia, serosa, peritoneum, second layer muscle layer, third layer submucosa, and the fourth layer mucosa. It can be well understood with the help of this diagram. So the outermost layer, here we can see the peritoneum, the whitish in color, the outermost layer. If we remove the outermost layer, this is the outermost layer is a peritoneum, and if we remove the outermost layer, what will you find below? It is a smooth layer, and smooth layer again having the 2 types. Within that one, outer layer is made up of longitudinal muscle fiber. Muscles are arranged longitudinally, so the outermost muscular layer is made up of longitudinal muscle fiber, and the inner muscular layer where the muscles are arranged circularly. Here you can see the circularly arranged muscle. So the innermost muscular layer, it is made up of the circular muscle. So circular muscle layer. Then if you remove the muscle layer, the next layer we will find it is a submucosa, and the innermost layer it is a mucosa. So mucosa, it is the innermost layer which is in contact with the food particle present in the alimentary canal. So the layer which is being in a contact with the food particle, it is a mucosa. After the mucosa there is a submucosa. After the submucosa there is a circular muscle of circular smooth muscles. Above the circular muscles there is a longitudinal muscles, and above the longitudinal muscles, the outermost layer, it is the peritoneum, also known as a serosa, also known as a adventitia. Let us start our discussion one by one related to the adventitia. What is adventitia? What is serosa? What is it made up of? And what is its function? So adventitia, it is the outermost layer, as we said earlier. In thorax, it is made up of loose fibrous tissue. In thorax means in thorax, the part of the alimentary canal present, it is esophagus. So within the thorax or at the level of esophagus, it is made up of loose fibrous tissue. So adventitia or serosa or peritoneum of esophagus is made up of loose fibrous tissue, and in abdomen it is made up of a serous membrane. So in serous membrane, in abdomen, it is known as a serosa or the peritoneum, and in thorax, as it is made up of loose fibrous tissue, it is known as adventitia. So in abdomen, it is known as a serosa. In abdomen, it is known as a peritoneum. So in abdomen, the serous membrane is called peritoneum, as I said earlier. It is the largest serous membrane. What is the peritoneum? Peritoneum is considered as the largest serous membrane, and this is a membrane which is supplied with large number of blood and the lymph vessel. It also contains the lymph nodes, and being it possesses the lymph node, it has a role in the protection. Lymph node possesses the lymphocytes, and lymphocytes has the particular role in the prevention of infection. So the layer of peritoneum, it serves as a physical barrier, and it inhibits or it protects us from the local spread of infection. So continues with our discussion related to peritoneum. What we said, we discuss about the peritoneum, where it is present, what is it is made up of. Adventitia, we said serous membrane, we said it is known as a peritoneum, the outermost layer. The peritoneum, it is the largest serous membrane, and it is made up of two layers. It is made up of two layers. The outermost layer is known as a parietal peritoneum. Correct? Peritoneum, it is the outermost covering of the alimentary canal, and it is again made up of the two layers. The outermost layer is known as a parietal peritoneum, and the inner layer is known as a visceral peritoneum. The parietal peritoneum, where does it is situated? The parietal peritoneum, it can be well understood with the help of this diagram. Here it is, you can see the parietal peritoneum, and here it is a visceral peritoneum. So parietal peritoneum is generally located towards the lining of abdominal wall. So here it is your abdominal wall. So lining of a abdominal wall. So parietal peritoneum, it covers the lining of abdominal wall, while the visceral peritoneum, here you will find visceral peritoneum covers the viscera or the organs that are placed within the abdominal and the pelvic cavity. So what is being here placed? It is nothing but our liver. So whatever the layer of the peritoneum which covers the liver, it is the visceral peritoneum. Which cover the stomach, visceral peritoneum. Which covers the colon, means small intestine, large intestine, it is a visceral peritoneum. While the outermost layer, this outermost layer, you will find here a gap. You will find here a gap in between the visceral peritoneal and the parietal peritoneum. And this gap is known as, the gap in between the visceral peritoneum and the parietal peritoneum is known as, here the gap can be well seen. Here it is a visceral peritoneum, and which lines the abdominal wall, it is a parietal peritoneum, and the gap, the space in between the parietal peritoneum and the visceral peritoneum is known as a peritoneal space. And this peritoneal space is secreted by or filled with the serous fluid, also known as a peritoneal fluid, which is secreted by peritoneal cells of the serous membrane. It is made up of the peritoneal cell, and these peritoneal cells continuously secrete a fluid into these two layers. That fluid is known as a serous fluid or the peritoneal fluid. What is the function of this fluid? It retards the friction between the two layers of the peritoneum during the movement of abdomen. So to reduce the friction between the two layers of visceral peritoneum and the parietal peritoneum, there is a secretion present known as a serous fluid or the peritoneal fluid. Okay, the outermost layer we studied, and now just below the adventitia, just below the peritoneum or just below the serosa, the next layer is situated as per as basic structure of alimentary canal is considered, and this time it is made up of the muscle layer. Again, as said earlier, the muscle layer is again made up of the two parts or the two layers. The outermost layer is made up of the longitudinal muscle fiber, so it is known as a longitudinal muscle layer. As we discussed earlier, uh, we also studied its image. With the help of image, we also studied how does this longitudinal muscle fibers look like. And the inner muscle layer is made up of the circular muscle layer again having two layers: outermost layer longitudinal muscle layer and the middle layer circular muscle layer. Here with the help of diagram it can be also shown. The outermost layer, so far we studied serosa. Among the serosa, outermost is a parietal serosa, innermost is a visceral peritoneum. Just below the visceral peritoneum, the next layer is situated, that is a muscle. This one is a muscular layer, this one, and this one is a muscular layer. This is a longitudinal muscle layer, this is a circular muscle layer. Just below the circular muscle layer there is a submucosal layer, and below the submucosa there is a mucosa. What is longitudinal muscle layer? It is the outer layer, and the circular muscle layer, it is a muscle layer, inner muscle layer. What is being present in between these two muscle layer? The blood vessel, lymph vessel, plexus of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves called mesenteric plexus is present. A plexus, a network of nerves, which nerves? Parasympathetic and sympathetic, is being found to be present within the muscular layer, and these plexus of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves is called mesenteric plexus. The point to be remembered here, what is mesenteric plexus? So mesenteric plexus means what? The network or the plexus of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves present within the smooth muscular layer, within the smooth muscle layer. Whenever we said about the peristalsis, as far as the peristalsis, one of the important function of the digestive system is considered. Without the peristalsis, it is not possible the movement of food particle within our digestive system. So the peristalsis is carried out just because of the contraction and relaxation. Contraction, a wave-like contraction and relaxation of these longitudinal muscles and the circular muscle fiber initiates the peristalsis. So, and the contraction of these longitudinal and the circular muscles of contraction and relaxation of these muscle fiber is under the control of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So that's why the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve approaches to the muscular layer. Here you will find the outermost layer, this one, longitudinal muscle layer, and this is a circular muscle layer. Here the mesenteric plexus is present, the yellow color, a network of sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves. The blood vessels in the form of arterioles and capillaries and veins also get introduced to the muscular layer. So mesenteric plexus is present, large number of lymphatic vessels, blood vessels are present, nerve fibers are present within the muscular layer, and the plexus or the network of nerve fibers is known as a mesenteric plexus. The another network is also present within the submucosal layer, and that is known as a submucosal plexus. Within the submucosa, again within a submucosa, network or the plexus of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves is present. At that time it is known as a submucosal plexus, as it is present within a submucosal plexus, but when it is present in a smooth muscle it is known as a mesenteric plexus. Here you can easily see, just below the mucosa there is a mucosal layer. This one is a submucosa and this one is a mucosal layers. So various glands are found to be present, and it is a lumen through which the food particle passes. Basic structure of alimentary canal. The third part, submucosa. Slight spelling mistake is there. Submucosa, it is the third layer. For this layer is made of the loose areolar connective tissue containing collagen and elastic fiber. So this is a layer. This is a layer which binds the muscle layer with the mucosal layer. Definitely, this is a layer present between the muscle layer and the mucosal layer. So it binds the muscle layer and the mucosal layer. What is being present now? What I discussed earlier, the large number of blood vessel, lymph vessel, and the plexus of sympathetic, parasympathetic nerves called submucosal plexus is present within the submucosa. Here again for you, serosa adventitia, outermost layer, correct. Then muscle layer made up of the longitudinal muscles or the circular muscle. Plexus of nerves is present, known as mesenteric plexus, also known as Orbach's plexus. Then just below the muscular layer there is a submucosa, and it is made up of the mesoners of the submucosal plexus. And just below the mucosa there is a mucosa. Let us discuss the last structure, that is it is not a submucosa, it is a mucosa. Again consider the mistake. The fourth one, mucosa, it consists of three layers. The mucosal layer, it consists of three layers. The outermost one is a mucous membrane, lamina propria, and the muscularis mucosa. It consists of the three layers. The mucous membrane, it is the innermost layer. It is the innermost layer formed by the columnar epithelial cell. So the mucous membrane, it is the innermost layer formed by the columnar epithelial cell. Its function is very clear: protection, secretion, and absorption. It is the function that has to be carried out by the mucous membrane. Which one? Mucosa. It is not a submucosa, it is a mucosa. It carries out protection, secretion, and absorption. Lamina propria, it is made up of loose connective tissue and the lymphoid tissue. Thus, it also helps in the protection, protects us from the microorganism. And the muscularis mucosa, the name itself indicates it should be made up of the muscle. It is the outer layer of the smooth muscle. So what is this one? The mucosal layer made up of the three layers. Mucosal layer made up of the three layers. Mucous membrane made up of the columnar epithelial cells. It carry out the protection, secretion, and the absorption. Lamina propria, it is made up of loose connective tissue and lymphoid tissue. So it also helps in the protection. And the muscularis mucosa, it is the muscular layer, outer layer of smooth muscle. And the muscularis mucosa is in contact with the submucosa. Now the last part of our discussion, what is the effect of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve stimulation? So far where we saw that the large number of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve fiber reaches to the muscular layer, reaches to the submucosal layer. So what is their effect? So their effect is over the gastric acid secretion and the gastrointestinal motility. What is the effect? Gastrointestinal motility and gastric acid secretion. So far I have not added anything, I have not added any sentence within this slide. I will explain. So whenever there is a stimulation of parasympathetic and sympathetic nerve within the muscular layer, it results into either increase or decrease in the gastrointestinal motility. Either gastrointestinal motility will be increased or decreased. So whenever there is a stimulation of parasympathetic nervous system towards the muscular layer, it results into increase in gastrointestinal motility, while the sympathetic nerve stimulation towards the muscular layer results into decrease in gastrointestinal motility. The points to remember: parasympathetic nervous system increases gastrointestinal motility and sympathetic nervous system decreases gastrointestinal motility. But when submucosal layer, whenever there is activation of parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system towards the submucosal layer, that may either increase or decrease the secretion, through the submucosal glands. So parasympathetic nerve stimulation will increase the secretion of glands situated within the submucosal layer. So parasympathetic nerve stimulation results into increased GI secretion. Gastrointestinal secretions are going to be increased due to the parasympathetic nerve stimulation. the parasympathetic nerves that reaches to the submucosal layer. So those nerve reaches to the submucosal layer and parasympathetic in nature. Stimulation of these parasympathetic nerves that reaches to submucosal layer increases the gastrointestinal secretion, while the sympathetic nerves that reaches to the submucosal layer, the stimulation of these nerve results into decrease in GI secretion. And that's all as far as our today's topic is considered. So far we discussed about the digestive system, we discussed about the importance of digestive system, we discussed about the components of digestive system. Most oftenly the question related to this one is asked for the 4 marks. Draw a well labeled diagram of digestive system. Also a question is asked for the 2 marks and list the different parts of the digestive system. So where you have to introduce alimentary canal as well as second one accessory organs of digestive system. And a very important question that could be asked, explain in brief the basic structure of alimentary canal. So far whatever we discussed, the 4 layers: Adventitia, also known as the serosa, peritoneum, second layer muscle layer, third layer submucosa, and the fourth layer mucosa. That should be explained. So this is for what. Thank you very much for watching, and for any query, doubt or suggestion, feel free to comment or feel free to contact with me. Thank you once again.